Isabella Jaramillo, and title is Summer Internship for EPA Office of Environmental Justice, and mentor is Chitra Kumar. All yours.
So, like Amelia, I also interned at the Office of Environmental Justice, and I worked on the rural team primarily. So my acknowledgements are for Chitra Kumar. She's like second in command to Matahada. Because if you recall in Ed Walsh's class, I called him out for being a federal agent and for being white, and I asked him how he expected people to trust him in the rural community. That stuck with him for whatever reason. So he asked for my resume, and he's lovely actually. And Ed Walsh for plugging that, and EMAP because I wouldn't know Ed Walsh without EMAP. So to be honest, as you may or may not know, the Office of Environmental Justice is like a relatively new thing. It's not as established as like the Office of Water, the Office of Air. So they're really just trying to figure everything out, especially with the SCOTUS decision this summer. Everything we're just trying to figure out what's going on, how do we mitigate all of these things. And so being with the rural team is quite interesting because I think rural America does not get enough attention. I personally don't see it in the headlines, and I also don't go scouring the internet to look for these things. And it's a shame because it's a disservice to these communities. So a lot of the work that I did was pretty much educating myself on all of these issues in all parts of the country. And one of the main things that the OEJ is paying attention to is CAFOs, concentrated animal feeding operations, because they're obviously specifically placed in neighborhoods that are not white and rich. And there are a lot of toxic things to it, health, environment, so many different things. Unfortunately, it is a very political topic, so the government, at least this administration, isn't really going to do on that. Shame, but I mean, the agriculture industry has so much money and such good lobbyists that it is quite an obstacle. That's all to say that this has been a long-standing issue, and so one of my tasks was to sort through public comment from NEJAC from 1993 to present, so you can imagine how many pages that was. And it honestly is disheartening seeing the same people come back year after year to these public meetings. Like there was a representative of a tribe in like North Carolina area every year being like, can't breathe, help us. And at the same time, though, it does kind of make me really upset, but in a good way that makes me want to do something about it. And so I kind of sorted through that. And I guess this is one of those things that with all of these new pieces of legislation that OEJ is getting a lot of money now. So I think a lot of money is going to go towards it. I also curated a bi-weekly newsletter that I sent out to like, I honestly don't know who. I would reckon like, got my email every 2 weeks, just like news, like here's what's going on, here's what's happening, and they really liked it. Probably the most interesting thing I did this summer was for the new EPA draft lead strategy. They had public comment this past February and March, and so I sorted through comments of that, which was my lead knowledge comes from Rosie, and she really went in depth in class, but I think that seeing these things of how people were critiquing this strategy, sort of, it was a range of like students at a Columbia as a Master of Public Health. They submitted comments as a class, and then like cities were submitting. It was just really awesome to read all these things. I didn't know there could be lead in baby food. Apparently there can be, and that's a huge thing. And something that I didn't think about is when we're talking about infrastructure and building all these new things, when we're demolishing these old buildings, most of them have lead-based paint in them. So when we're demolishing them, those particles are just ending up somewhere. Didn't know that, so fun fact. And I basically took like the most important parts of every comment and how we could improve the lead strategy. Unfortunately, it came to my attention that they're not going to get to this for at least 4 years because that's how government agencies operate. But I think it's great nonetheless that they're taking the public's critiques and I guess opinions into consideration. And I will say that I genuinely enjoyed my internship and working with everyone that I did work with. I think everyone was great. really wonderful things that change the world for the better. And yeah, I mean, there's all this new money, so I think a lot of great things are going to start happening at OHA.